You know, there's really no difference between nuclear bombs and biological weapons except for one thing that separates it, that's the game changer. The only difference is when your enemy is pointing a biological weapon at you, and you also have a biological weapon that you can point back at them. This is where it gets kind of unique here. Because you don't end up with, because both entities are going to be batshit crazy, right, if they develop biological weapons. So instead of having a nuclear or instead of having self-assured, or what is that called? Self-assured destruction or whatever, where you nuke each other and kill each other. Sorry, I was laying down. My brain hadn't quite woke up just yet. But this is what was going through my mind while I was sitting there reading my heads-up display with Clint Eastwood in there. Go ahead, make my day. Go ahead, make my day. Remember that? With biological weapons in the background and DARPA there, reminding me that I have the cure for cancer inside of me. We'll get into that here in a second. But the difference between a nuclear weapon and a biological weapon is if you have the biggest, baddest biological weapon on the planet, and your enemy has some sort of biological weapon that they're pointing at you, and then you remind your enemy, all of my agents have the antidote to the biological weapon that I could release tomorrow. And we're batshit crazy. We're actually crazy enough to release that biological weapon if you were to release your little bullshit virus or whatever it is that you want to release to wage warfare against us. Because you can't release anything that's too terrible, right? Because it'll affect yourselves. Right. You could end up killing your own families and killing all of your own your own pyramid, like all your media minions and things like that, right? So if you lose control of the situation by accidentally killing your pyramid when you release your biological weapon, then you basically shot yourself in the head is when you do that, right? But you can still, it's kind of like a nuclear standoff, right? I have nukes, you have nukes. So we're going to saber rattle our nukes, and we'll have this big Mexican standoff forever, and nobody will ever use their nukes on each other, right? Well, when the elite came up with their big scheme to hold the world hostage, they didn't realize that there's actually people out there that are crazier than they are. And they're so crazy, they put together an army full of people that have technology inside of them that can kill cancer just like that. They can kill just about any disease that comes across their path there. They can kill it just like that. State-of-the-art nanotechnology that seeks and destroys everything and anything other than your immune system, and it works completely independent from your immune system. In other words, it doesn't work with your immune system. It's completely independent from your immune system. And the second something enters your body that shouldn't be there, it seeks it and destroys it. And it knows what shouldn't be there and what should be there. But it's completely independent from your immune system. So you might have this biological weapon that you can't really release, but you can threaten to release it and you can hold the world hostage. But if you actually release it, you destroy your own pyramid and you lose control of the situation. But you're going to threaten to use that biological weapon so that you can gain power. And all you've done is you've already shown the samples and everything of what you've came up with in your lab, and you've mailed it to everybody that matters and said, look, we're going to do what we want to do, and if you try to stop us, we're going to release this, and basically we're holding the world hostage, right? And then you find out, oh, you mean there's people out there that's actually crazier than we are, that have a biological weapon that's 100,000 times worse than what we were talking about, and they all have the antidote to both of the weapons that I'm talking about? Yeah, there are people that crazy. And they built an army full of people that have the technology in them. So, go ahead, make my day means Clint Eastwood. Go ahead and release your biological weapon and kill everybody, and we'll be the only people left on the planet. Of course, you didn't want to release it in the first place. You were just saber rattling. And now you just seen a bigger saber that's getting rammed up your ass, which basically nullified your biological weapon just like that. Oh, and if we decide to release one of these biological weapons, we're going to release it at every media studio in the world first. Yeah, we'll just break your whole pyramid down immediately. Just like that. Yeah, you see how that works? So, on top of all of that, these buffalo chips that I have coursing through my body, right? Of course, this isn't a buffalo, but I just had to lead into the buffalo chips here. Let's say, okay, let me tell you why cancer is so deadly. Cancer is no worse than the common cold, okay? It's no worse than the common cold. The reason that cancer is deadly is because your immune system cannot see it. That's why cancer is deadly, because your immune system just simply cannot identify it to attack it when it's inside of you, right? So if you have some nanotechnologies inside of you that works independent from your immune system that can see cancer, this is how sophisticated this technology is. And it's not anything that's out there right now. Yeah, this is special access programs, unacknowledged special access programs, okay. You don't go get this at the pharmacy, and even the elite don't have the technology that I'm talking about, right? This nanotechnology is so sophisticated that it can kill cancer completely independent from your immune system, because your immune system can't see the cancer anyway. This is also how 9/11 was pulled off. Okay, let's say you have a network of nodes, which is an entire country at this point, because they hacked everybody's minds for the pre-crime initiative and different things like that, right? And they were going to use this technology to prevent terrorist attacks and whatnot, right? And it works unbelievably well because you can read everybody's minds. You've duplicated everybody's minds, and you can monitor their thoughts, right? So you're monitoring the entire country's thoughts, the entire world's thoughts. Let's say you had somebody that was not connected to your system. Well, they'd stick out like a sore thumb. Hey, we got some over here that's not connected to the system, because the AI, you got the police state now, the surveillance state, and as soon as the AI sees somebody roaming around that's not connected to the system, it's going to go, wait a minute, that's a red flag. What if I was to say the technology, the buffalo chips that they put inside of people, allows a node within that universal network to operate under false pretenses, or a buffalo? Let's say that I was a bomb maker and I was making bombs, right? And I'm connected to the system, but the entire time that I'm making a bomb, the data that's being sent to the system says that I'm playing baseball or watching baseball in my living room when I'm making a bomb, right? So there's no red flag raised. That's what the buffalo chips from Pinky and the Brain were, by the way. And that's how you pull off 9/11 in a surveillance state. You buffalo the system, right? And then every agent that pulled off 9/11 had buffalo chips inside of them, and that's how they pulled it off, right? Remember hijacked planes? Hijacked planes, emergency, right? What they were trying to do was tell you that the country's mind's been hijacked by the government. Saddam Hussein, we went over to IRAQ, Iraq. Saddam Hussein. Well, they were letting you know that they hacked your mind, and their plans for you aren't that great. So these terrorists, remember when Dick Cheney, in that entire event there, shot down an airplane in Shanksville, right? Let's roll, right? The guy said, let's roll, rolling on ecstasy. The plane came down in Shanksville, right? See how sophisticated these buffalo chips are? George Bush said, let's roll, rolling on ecstasy. That's what you call, when you're high on ecstasy, that's rolling, right? Now, I know I've explained all of this, but I'm going to get a little deeper into it now. Because we're being held hostage by a group of people that doesn't understand that they're not the only people out there that are batshit crazy, right? There's actually people out there that have the antidote to anything you can throw at them, coursing through their veins. And the weapon that they have is worse than your weapon. And they have the antidote to all the weapons, to include cancer. Now, let's see, what do we got? Probably 5 or 6 million of these people in the United States of America, agents with the technology in them. 5 or 6 million agents who are highly trained assassins who can survive anything you throw at them. So if y'all want to continue playing this game where we have a nuclear standoff with biological weapons, well, go ahead. Make my day. Because I'd like to inherit the earth at this point. I mean, basically, it's went to shit. If everybody dies, well, there'd be about maybe 1 billion people left after some people would just have a natural immunity to whatever the weapon was, and a lot of us have this technology that I'm talking about. When it was all said and done, old Clint Eastwood there, he's living large. Yeah. Go find a big yacht somewhere. Hell, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd probably go get me a Navy ship. It's got like a nuclear reactor on it, so I'd never run out of gas, and just cruise around the coastline there. Check the world out. Plenty of food around. I mean, all I need's a spear. If I got hungry, I could pull up on a sandbar and get off and spear me a deer or something. I don't know, Elite. Y'all want to test that theory? Because, I see where all this is going, and just wanted you to know that some of us are really prepared for that. I forgot Dick Cheney. The reason I mentioned Dick Cheney was he shot down that airplane. That was the storyline. Well, it wasn't even the storyline. I mean, who knows? I know that for sure that Shanksville and Let's Roll was everything to do with buffalo chips and ecstasy. I know this for a fact. So, by the way, I taught DARPA everything that they know while I was in the Army there. So, yeah. The reason that you would shoot down an airplane full of innocent people is because it might take out a building full of more innocent people, right? That was the whole story within a story with 9/11. So if you kill 5,000 people to save billions of people, then that's technically not evil, right? That's what a good leader would do, and that's what 9/11 was all about, right? That's a big theatrical event. Watch the movie Deja Vu, okay? Watch the movie Deja Vu with Denzel Washington and think 9/11 while you're watching that movie, all right? And then also watch South Park, where Cartman infiltrated the NSA. I'll put the link down in the description. You'll have to buy it. It's like $1.99. Watch that. And they got Saint Nick tortured and chained up in their little NSA computer there. Yeah, that's everything I'm talking about right now, with the hack the entire country's mind so you can prevent terrorist attacks. Yeah, while they wage warfare against the entire freaking world. I mean, it's like, anyway, I'm not going to get into it right now on that, but another thing that's going through my heads-up display right now is I'm on the front of a big Navy ship that I commandeered after everybody's dead. And I'm wearing just a cheetah thong with one nut hanging out on the bow as my ship passes by a group of ladies that were left alive still. And I see them, and I get out and I spear a deer, and we all eat together. And I get all of them pregnant. And I leave my children all over the place.